Hi guys, this is Alex from Blogging Toolkit. Today I'm going to show you how to design and create your own custom subscriber forms. I've got a bunch of subscriber forms on my blog and I've got loads of different designs and placed them in multiple locations for better conversion rates. So I've got the one on the right hand side here, and on my 5-day blogging course I have a large one at the bottom of that which converts quite well. I also have one that appears at the bottom of every post, which is my main subscriber form. And on my step-by-step guide for how to start your own blog, I have multiple forms placed around the page as well, like there, and one near the top, which also help convert subscribers either for my free blogging course or for the 3 free ebooks that I offer on my blog. Now, I've had a lot of questions about how to create custom looking subscriber forms with images and fonts that match the site. So today I'm going to take you through how I create these, customize them and put them on the site. I use a couple of different tools to be able to create my subscriber forms. The first one is the WP Subscribers plugin, which controls all of the subscriptions, and it also has a whole bunch of different options for the type of forms that you want to create. So you can create your own custom forms of different sizes for sidebars in post, or you can create post footer forms which will appear at the bottom of every post that you write without you having to do anything, or you can create pop-up forms and various other different forms for capturing subscribers and capturing email addresses on your site. Okay, the next thing I use is either a book or magazine 3D mock-up or a cover. I usually go to Graphic River and purchase one of their packages that you can buy. They're usually about $5 or so. I'll put a link below this video so you can access the ones that I've used, and you can see also what else they've got that you can choose and customize yourself. And the final tool is Photoshop. So the way I design my subscriber forms is by actually creating it as an image in Photoshop and then bringing it into the WP Subscribers plugin, which will then display it however you decide to lay it out. The whole thing is done as an image in Photoshop, so when you come to design a form, it's really important that you know what size image that you want to design. So you should know the size of your sidebar, or potentially the size of the form and how you want it to look on your page. Sometimes you need a bit of trial and error to get it just right. It took me a couple of times to get this just right, and also this to make sure it fits in. Now I know my sidebar is 300 pixels wide, but I always create them at 280 pixels because it gives a little bit of leeway. Now if we look at the options in the WP Subscribers plugin, once you've actually installed it, you set up the code from the email subscription program that you use, MailChimp, Aweber, iContact. I've used MailChimp with this before, but I've now switched to Aweber. So you can see my Aweber form just here. You set up your opt-in code, and then you can go to create opt-in forms. So as you can see, you can create lots of different types of forms. So we have the opt-in pop-up, which is quite popular, and that has a whole bunch of different settings. We have the post opt-in form, which is the one that appears at the bottom of each post. We have the header opt-in form and the footer opt-in form, and we have the custom opt-in form and the exit pop-up. Now the ones I'm going to go over today are the custom opt-in forms, which is what I use on, which is how I've designed all my forms apart from the post opt-in form. Now as you can see, I've created images and posted them into the form content instead of actually typing. Now for this I'm just going to create a new custom form, and I'm going to name it video test form, and just save changes. That's going to be right at the bottom here. So as you can see, you have form title and form content. You can insert sample content, which gives you some writing in there and sometimes an image depending on what you're creating. And you can then customize everything on the form, so what you want on it, what you want it to look like. You can submit the button text, and then it's also got more settings here as well, so you can actually decide the form width, height, the background, what it's going to look like, the colour of the buttons, the rounded borders, and then also what opt-in form you want it to be linked to, as you can have different lists within your email program that you use. And what I like about this is that you can also preview the custom opt-in form. So I'm just going to press that. It should give us a nice preview of what that looks like. So it's like that because there is no width or height set to it, so it's just going to appear as it is. Now, I like to create my forms in Photoshop, as I've said before, so I'm going to go ahead and just create a new document, and the width is going to be 280. I'm going to make a new sidebar opt-in form, and the height is going to be 500, which I'm going to adjust later once I've finished designing. So I'm just going to press OK and start the new document. So that's how wide it's going to be, and we can just insert some text here. So I'm just going to say subscribe to my awesome blog, and I'm just going to make that over 2 lines. Just move it in the center, so I can just mess around with it a little bit, decide what I want. So I use the brief font, brief serif, on my blog, and I'm just going to give it a nice blue color and increase the size a little bit too big. And center that like that. But as you can see, I have to design this on a transparent background, so then I can add my own backgrounds to the forms later. Now, this is the brochure mockup that I use. Again, I'll put a link to this below the video. And as you can see, it's really easy to actually customize these to what you want them to look like. So by opening them up in Photoshop, you can actually double click on the cover and just press OK to this. It's about saving it once you've finished editing it, and basically edit a flat image. So I'm just going to put a blank layer over this, and I'm going to colour it in white with this, and then I can start to add my own stuff to it. So free ebook, it's going to come out white, so I'm going to switch that over. Again, I'm going to just put it into the font that I want. I'm just going to go with Bree again, I quite like that font, and increase the size a bit. Can move that to the middle. And I can also then drag my own images into it. So I'm just going to add some more text to this just to fill it up a little bit. Learn how to start your own blog. Set that apart. Do that. And I'm also just going to add a block of colour behind it to make it look a little bit better. We shall make that grey. I'm just going to move it behind the text. Just going to change the colour of that. And I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. so. And once you're done, you can just exit that, and it will give you an option to, if you want to save it. So you want to save it, and then you can see it gets then put onto your ebook, like so. Now, what I like to do is I get rid of the background layer, and I save this for web and devices. And then I save it as a PNG 24, just so I get the transparent background with it as well. And then once I'm done, I just press save. And I'm going to save it as a test form cover on my desktop. And then I'm just going to open it. Wherever it is. There we are, test form cover. And it's a PNG. So then I'm just going to duplicate that layer into my Untitled 2, which is the form I'm just designing. Duplicate layer. There we go. So I'm just going to edit and transform, scale it so you can see it's quite big. So holding down Shift means you can scale in proportion. You don't get a funny looking book. So I'm just going to place that in the middle there. Remember, you can get as creative as you want with this. It's Photoshop, so you can do whatever you want. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to crop this to the correct size now. You can see you've got a bit of excess at the bottom right there. And now that's done, again, remember you want the transparent background because it means you can add any background to your own subscriber form then that you might want. So I'm just going to save this. Save for web and devices. PNG 24. And I'm going to save it as subscriber form layer. Press OK. And I'm just going to go back to my site now. Now what you want to do is first you need to import the image into your site. So I'm going to import new media. And I'm going to select the form. There it is. Subscribe form layout. And it's the file URL that you want. Don't forget to add a alternative text to that. So I'm just going to copy the file URL from here. And I'm going to paste it into this. I'm just going to clear these out as I don't want their text. I'm just going to place this here, and on the image button you can import your image. So paste the image URL right there, and you can see it appears at the bottom. So I'm just going to call that subscriber form in both fields. I'm going to press so I'm going to just check the appearance. I'm going to put 0 in the border because normally it would come out with a border, and I want the alignment to none set is fine. I'm just going to insert that. So once you've inserted the image into the plugin, you can then go to the settings and customize it even more. So you can decide on your form width. Again, it says leave blank for auto set width, which is fine, although I do recommend setting the height, but I like to do it in the CSS format. So I just copy this bit of text in to the CSS and change that with height, and 400 pixels should be fine. I mean, we'll test it. Form background, you can change the color of your background depending on what you want. I'm just going to put these to white for now. And the other thing I like about this plugin is that you can set an image for the background, like I have on this form over here. So it's a grid that I've found and downloaded from the internet, and I've just placed it as the background on that image. So if you have an image, import it into WordPress as a new media, and then insert the URL right here. Now you can decide the submit color button, submit color background, so that's for the text color, and that's the background color, which is a nice orange. I'm just going to change that to a blue. It's okay. And then again, you can choose from pre-designed backgrounds that you might want. So you can choose fancy looking buttons like this. Well, actually, that one, and it says subscribe now on the button. You can choose your border colors. So I might choose a black if you want a border, and you can decide how wide you want the border to be and the rounded border. And then finally, subscriber form, make sure it's enabled. Decide on the code that you want to use. So I have two lists within Aweber. I'm just going to choose the Toolkit subscribers for now. And this option is quite important because it called me out a couple of times. It says auto disable this form after visitor opt-in. So once your visitor actually opt-ins, that form won't appear again for up to 7 days. And if you have this as a sidebar opt-in and your visitor opt-ins, it actually doesn't appear anything there once they have opted in. So I usually switch it off so that subscriber form is always there. Otherwise it just disappears, and then if you don't have anything to replace it, it can look a bit weird and a bit bare. So I'm just going to save all these changes. So once you've finished designing your form, you can then insert it onto your blog. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can either copy and paste this bit of code into a text widget, or alternatively in your widget you can drag the custom opt-in form into the sidebar and then select the form. So we just designed a video test form, and I'm just going to save that, and I'm going to go to my site and just refresh that page. And scroll down to where I put it, which is over here. So as I can see, it looks great, apart from the frame is a little bit short, which is fine. So going back to the settings here, I now know that the height of 400 is not quite enough, so I'm just going to extend that to 430 pixels. Is there anything else I want to change? I am just going to make this border black, and I'm going to make it 3 pixels, and now I'm just going to save changes and then just test that again. So once you've saved the changes, you can just then go and refresh your page and see how that looks. Just going to load up. Okay, so I've got the thicker border. It's still a tiny little bit short, so I'm just going to extend that into 450 pixels, which should cover it. So just make sure you press save changes again, and once that's done, you can then refresh your page and see how that form looks. Perfect. So there's my image. Enter your name and email address and press the subscribe now button. Again, you can change the color of the writing on there and any of the settings. So once you've finished designing your custom forms, you can start to place them around your site in any location that you want. Now just a few quick tips for designing custom forms for putting them in your post. If you are designing forms that you want to put in halfway through your post within the writing, I usually fill in a few more of these settings. So for example, I would add a width to the form, otherwise it would just be an auto width, which would cover the whole post. So add a width, again, go through the CSS because it works better. So just copy and paste this into here on a new line. And I know the width of my blog is 670 pixels. So if I want to go halfway, I would usually go probably around 335 or so. And the way you put this form within a page or a post is you want to copy this shortcode in here, and if you go to add, before we do that, we want to make sure we save the changes again. On a new page, I'm just going to add a new post. And you can just then paste that shortcode in, and if we press preview, we can just view how that's going to look on the page. So there it is. It's actually come out centered, which is fine. Now I know in the settings of WP subscribers you can now set where you want that form to appear. So it's form alignment, center by default, left and right. So I'm going to do a left alignment on there. I'm just going to press save changes. And if I go back to this preview, I can just refresh it and watch it move. Right there, and that's an active form that you can actually use. Right guys, thanks for watching. I think I've covered as much as I can in this video. It's turned out to be quite a long video, but hopefully it's really helpful for anyone wanting to design your own custom forms and get more subscribers. If you have any questions, use the comments below to ask them, and I will get back to them as soon as I can. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you check out the blog, and I'm happy to help anyone that needs any help to get set up with WP subscribers and creating custom forms. You can just drop me an email by using the contact page or use the comments below again, and I will answer them. And also don't forget to subscribe to the blog. Thanks again.